50 years ago, Gerald Robotnik discovered an ancient robot known as a Gizoid. It possessed the unique ability to learn and adapt to any combat situation, and was powered by Chaos Emeralds. After researching it and discovering how dangerous it was, we decided to lock it away, never to be used again. Before Commander Tower could continue his briefing, he was interrupted by Agent Rouge the Bat. And by all that, you mean you couldn't get to work and just put it in storage, right, Commander? I'm not at liberty to say so, Agent Rouge. Regardless, a few days ago, Dr. Eggman broke into the base and stole the Gizoid away. Now we need you and your team to get it back. Shadow stood intently. I once pledged to destroy all the evil the Professor created. You can count on me, Commander. Omega chimed in. You said this machine possesses the ability to grow and adapt over time, correct? Yes, Sergeant. Do you have any input? Affirmative. We wait for the Gizoid to grow in power. That way, it will be a more significant opponent. I'm not going to dignify that with a response. Agent Rouge, you know it has to be done. Track it down and destroy it before it can become too dangerous. You got it, boss. Come on, boys. Let's get hunting. And with that, Team Dark headed out. Later that day, a black and red blur was racing around the mountainside just outside Central City. Of course, this figure was none other than Mighty the Armadillo, followed closely by his good friend, Ray the Flying Squirrel. So Mighty, where are we going now? Well, word is Sonic's new sidekick lives somewhere around here. Since it's been a while since we've seen Big Blue, I thought we'd drop in, say hi. You're right. It'll be great to catch up with Sonic again. Well then, let's get going. As the pair arrived at Emerald Town, they began looking around for their spiky blue friend, but they couldn't find him anywhere. But what they did find was trouble. Near the beach, the pair noticed a rotund scientist they recognized too well. Dr. Eggman. The doctor was leaving some machine nearby the shoreline. Useless piece of scrap. Stay here and rust for all I care. I don't understand why my grandfather found you so Robotnik! Mighty addressed the scientist directly. What do you think you're doing around here? Robotnik looked at the two heroes. He rolled his eyes. Oh, you two again. The pitiful pacifist and his moronic sidekick. Hey, who are you calling a moron? Mighty's very smart. And I rest my case. Eggman looked to his discarded machine. Gizoid, here is your final order. Destroy these two for your master. The orange and tan machine didn't follow his orders, simply reciting the words, Show power, or I will not obey. Not this again. You've been rambling this ever since I turned you on. Fine, I'll finish this myself. Mighty took a defensive position. You can still walk away, Eggman. We don't have to fight. Yeah, well, I think you know my choice. With that, multiple weapons sprung out of the Eggmobile as he began firing down at the two heroes. Ray majestically flew and weaved between the laser shots, never letting them touch him for a second, while Mighty used his incredible strength to lay out devastating blows against the Eggmobile. Throughout all this, the Gizoid simply observed. It especially noticed the raw power Mighty was exuding. Before long, Eggman made a tactical retreat. Ha! You're not worth my time! Sayonara, suckers! And as the Eggman fled, he left the heroes in the company of the Gizoid. The heroes prepared themselves, expecting the machine to retaliate against them. But it did nothing. It simply watched them. Hey there, Mr. Robot. What are you doing? Ray, although he was trying to act brave, was feeling a bit nervous and began to shake slightly. As if to imitate this, the Gizoid began to shake lightly as well. Hey, don't copy me. As Ray's stance became more aggressive, so did the Gizoid's. Mighty took note of this. I don't think he's trying to copy you, pal. Looks more like he's imitating, learning. Mighty raised his arms in a peaceful manner, and as expected, the Gizoid imitated. My name is Mighty, and this is my friend Ray. We don't mean you any harm. And if you want, we might be able to help you. The Gizoid remained quiet for a few seconds before replying. Help you. Help you. Help you. Help you. That seems like a good sign, Mighty. Agreed. Let's go find Tails. Hopefully he can help us fix this guy up. Before long, the trio was walking back into town. Are you sure Tails' house is around here? I thought it was around the Mystic Ruins. Mighty looked down the street. A house in the shape of Tails' head was glistening in the sun. Yeah, I think I'm sure, Ray. Well then, let's get going. Hopefully we'll see Sonic. Halt right there. A voice rang out from across the street. A hedgehog, a bat, and a robot stood opposed to our trio. By order of the Guardians Unit of Nations, we need you to hand over that Gizoid. Mighty stepped forward, calm, collective, but defensive. And who are you? I'm Shadow the Hedgehog. To protect the world, I need you to hand over that Gizoid. Now. Ray seemed a bit nervous. I don't know about this, Mighty. I mean, look at that robot they're walking around with. For all we know, he could be working for Robotnik. Agreed. Listen, I don't want to fight, but until we know what's going on, this Gizoid, as you called it, is staying with us. Well then, so be it. Without hesitation, Shadow leaped into action, firing a Chaos Spear at Mighty. The armadillo's shell absorbed most of the damage, but he was briefly stunned. Sorry, but I can't let you get in my way. Mighty retaliated by grabbing Shadow and throwing him into a nearby building. No hard feelings. Come on, Ray, let's get out of here. But when Mighty looked over, he saw Ray was already engaged in aerial combat with Rouge the Bat. As for the Gizoid, it was completely still. It had no idea what was even going on. This gave Omega the perfect opportunity. He loaded his guns and prepared to fire down on the machine. But as the bullets began to spray, Mighty jumped in the way of the rounds, blocking them all with his hard shell. Meanwhile, Shadow returned to his feet, unveiling a Chaos Emerald. He intended on using Chaos Control to stop this fight here and then and destroy the Gizoid. But as he began to enunciate the words, Chaos, Ray suddenly flew by, knocking the emerald out of his hand. Before Shadow could grab the emerald once more, Mighty sucker punched Shadow in the gut. Shadow gritted his teeth before returning the favor with a kick right to the face. The pair continued to fight hand to hand. Mighty was stronger, but thanks to Shadow's speed, he began dodging some of his more deadly punches. Just stand down already. Sorry, can't do that, Hedgehog. What does the Gizoid even mean to you? What does he mean to you? That Gizoid was experimented on in the same lab that created me. It's my duty to protect the world from threats like him. Mighty countered. Have you ever considered maybe he could be a protector? For the first time throughout the fight, Shadow looked at the Gizoid he was trying so desperately to capture. It wasn't doing anything. Nothing threatening anyway. For but a moment, Shadow began to question himself. The armadillo did have a point. They both came from the same place. Is it possible that this Gizoid had a potential for good as well? Shadow asked himself, what would Maria do? Before loudly declaring, Team Dark, stand down. Let's hear him out. Both groups began discussing the situation. And that's when Eggman left this machine on the beach. We were hoping Tails could give us some answers on it. Very well. Let's give this Gizoid a chance to prove itself. The group looked back at the Gizoid. It was admiring the Chaos Emerald Shadow had dropped earlier. When suddenly, in a flash of light, the emerald disappeared, being absorbed into the body of the Gizoid. Chaos Emerald acquired. Programming partially restored. Thank you. Well, that's definitely different. Before he was just copying what we said. Shadow pondered for a second. Seems that he's powered by Chaos Emeralds. Something tells me he won't be at full strength until he has all 7. Well, then, what are we waiting for? Replied Ray. Why don't we get Emerald some more emeralds? Wait, what did you just call him? Well, he's powered by Chaos Emeralds, so Emerald. Fair enough. Say, Sonic was always pretty good at getting the Chaos Emeralds. Why don't we just ask him? Shadow looked mournfully at the two heroes. About that, I should get you up to speed on a few things. Rouge, begin hunting for the Chaos Emeralds. We'll join you soon. Sure thing, handsome. Sounds a lot better than hunting down a robot anyway. And with that, Rouge flew off to go find the Chaos Emeralds, as Shadow explained the unfortunate events of Sonic's departure. Rouge flew majestically past the nightclubs of Central City. The special agent was looking for the Chaos Emeralds, and she had tracked down one of them to her old stopping grounds. Club Rouge. Seems quite fitting that a Chaos Emerald would find its way to my casino. Makes it a little too easy for me, though. Oh well, let's find this gem. The bat soared around her place of business until eventually finding a purple, glowing emerald. Jackpot. But before Rouge could claim her prize, a figure emerged from the shadows. Standing before the bat was a towering badnik. Its silver arm suddenly grabbed the Chaos Emerald. Chaos Emerald acquired. Omega? I didn't expect you to get here this quick. What's wrong with your voice chip? It was then Rouge took a better look at the machine. This was not E123 Omega. My designation is Chaos Gamma. You and the Chaos Emerald now belong to the Eggman Empire. Rouge wasn't amused. Yeah, that's sweet, sugar. How about you just give me the Chaos Emerald and I'll be on my way. Rouge suddenly attacked with a flying kick, sending the rebuilt Gamma hurling into a wall. In the crash, Gamma dropped the Chaos Emerald. Rouge quickly snagged it and flew off. This outcome was unforeseen. Solution: chase and destroy if necessary. Secure the Chaos Emerald at all costs. Back at Tails' house, Shadow was explaining to Mighty and Ray what had happened in the last few months. We both used a joint chaos control to stop the Ark. I was going to fall to Earth, but Sonic, he used the remaining bit of chaos energy he had to save my life. I only wish I could have returned the favor. The pair took in the information. They were both naturally sad, but Mighty was the first to speak up. Don't blame yourself, Shadow. It wasn't your fault. I'm sure if the roles were reversed, you would have done the same for him. Just how Sonic is, he always did like having the last say. Well, you got that right. A voice came from across the room. It was none other than Tails. Sonic did have a habit of doing things his own way. Ray spoke up. Oh, hey, sorry for just barging in, but we had to talk about a couple things. Hey, don't sweat it. I knew you guys had been here for hours. You did? Of course. I mean, what self-respecting scientist wouldn't have a surveillance system? And the moment I saw Shadow was here, I knew it had to be important. Shadow smiled. Glad to see you're prepared, kid. Say, we have this machine we need you to look into. Oh, does Omega need another tune-up? Tails was suddenly cut off as a giant explosion could be heard from the backyard. Maybe he does. The gang moved to the backyard to see Omega and Emerald sparring. Feeble Gizoid, this is your first test. Dodge the bullets, or your training will cease. Omega, what do you think you're doing? Are we not meant to learn more about this Gizoid? To do so, we must test its limits. Trial by fire is the best solution. Mighty then spoke up. There's better ways to test him than this, Omega. Meaningless violence won't solve anything. Emerald took note of his words. Won't solve anything. Though he was physically unable, Omega practically rolled his eyes at that statement. Pah! Clearly you do not understand the art of war. Very well, I will cease these tests. For now. Very well. As for now, we should. Shadow was cut off by another large explosion in the distance. I assure you, that one was not me. Tails' voice rang from inside the house. Guys, you might want to come see this. As the group ran in, Tails turned on his satellite TV to show footage of a black and red robot destroying parts of Central City, trying to capture Rouge the Bat. So, looks like Eggman's after the Chaos Emeralds too. Another E-Series? How delightful. Bring me to the battlefield so I may destroy it. More shockingly still, two silver robots highly resembling Emerald appeared on the footage. They too were trying to attack Rouge. Come on, Rouge may need our help. Without much delay, the heroes set off to put an end to the chaos. Considering the circumstances, Rouge had been holding her own impressively well, but before long, the robots finally began to overwhelm her. One of the silver gizoids kicked her out of the sky, but before it could finish her off, a sudden yell could be heard. Chaos Spear! Shadow plunged his energy weapon deep into the heart of the gizoid before it exploded from the impact. Huh. It took you boys long enough. I had them on the ropes, but as long as you're here, let's trash them. As Team Dark dealt with the cannon fodder badniks and the remaining silver gizoid, Tails, Mighty, and Ray prepared to deal with Chaos Gamma. As they charged, flew, and glided into battle, Tails tried to plead out to Gamma. Look, Gamma, I didn't know you all that well, but Amy trusted you. Why are you working for Eggman again? Logical fallacy. You are referring to my parts donor, E102 Gamma. I am Chaos Gamma, loyal servant to the Eggman Empire. Quite frankly, I don't care who you are. Just stand down. This doesn't have to get violent. Once more. You are incorrect. If you will not kneel before Lord Eggman, then you will die. Chaos Gamma prepared his blaster, but before he could fire at the heroes, Emerald stepped in the line of fire. Doesn't solve anything. Ancient robot, step aside or be terminated. Violence doesn't solve anything. Not wishing to deal with the orange gizoid anymore, Chaos Gamma attempted to just slap him away, but when he did, the gizoid stood its ground. Despite its small frame, it was as if the gizoid was as strong as a hulking tank. This is unexpected. Chaos Gamma was snapped back to reality as he took a mighty hit from the armadillo. Mighty then grabbed the robot by the legs, hurling him up into the air, only for Tails and Ray to meet him at the peak of his ascension and send him hurling back down to Earth with a flying punch. Self-repair mode initiating. Chances of success too low to quantify. Solution: retreat. Live to fight another day. And with that, Chaos Gamma rolled out of there before the heroes could catch him. Our heroes joined back up with Team Dark. Omega was complaining that he didn't get a chance to rip Chaos Gamma a new one. But his complaining was soon stopped when they noticed something lying in the remains of the silver gizoids. A pair of Chaos Emerald shards. When put together, they made the Red Chaos Emerald. Of all the evil things he's done, now he's defiling my lovely gems? It seems that those machines must have been powered by Chaos Emeralds. To divide them up, the Doctor broke the emeralds and used their shards as a power source. As before, Emerald picked up one of the many stones he was named after and absorbed it into his body. Chaos Emerald absorbed. Power increased. Thank you all. I greatly appreciate this. Darn, I was kind of hoping to keep that. Oh well. Come on, boys. There can't be too many left. From here, the story would loosely reflect that of Sonic Battle. Of course, our cast of characters are a little different, But the general premise is the same. Emerald grows in power as they collect more and more Chaos Emeralds. Some of the emeralds some of them they find as shards in the different Gizoid replicas. But eventually, they find them all. Throughout all this, Shadow was still conflicted. He wants to give Emerald a fair chance, as he sees that he has potential for good. But he can't deny that he was built for war. But after a bit of sleuthing from Rouge, they discovered something in Gerald's notes. A program that would eliminate all of Emerald's destructive nature. Bring hope to humanity. When the time came, as Emerald absorbed the 7th Emerald, his true nature was awoken. A third eye opened on his forehead as Emerald began to recite the words of his programming. Show me power, or I will not obey. I represent all things and shall become Gizoid, the conqueror of all. Mighty stepped up to do the honors. Emerald, I've only known you for a short while, but I know you are capable of amazing things. So I give you the command, bring hope to humanity. Emerald twitched slightly as his third eye closed. The command was accepted. Emerald was now free to choose his own path. Aboard the Death Egg, the space station's mad creator, Dr. Eggman, was ranting to his lead enforcer, Chaos Gamma. Bless those half-minded heroes! They've gone the way of all of my experiments. First, they feed the Chaos Emeralds to that rebellious Gizoid. Then they defeat all of my Gizoid replicas, and even you, Gamma. My deepest apologies, Dr. Eggman. Ha! I don't want apologies. I wanted a general, and ever since Metal has been MIA, you're the best I have, Gamma. Simply give me another chance, Doctor, and I will. Chaos Gamma's voice chip began to malfunction. Ha! Seems you're more damaged than I thought. No matter. Head to the repair bay. I'll fix you up when I have a chance. Very well, Doctor. As Gamma marched away, Eggman looked exhausted. What happened to the old Gamma? He used to be so useful. And now, it's like he's missing the spark, the drive, the link. Wait, link. Eggman began to ponder. He remembered that word from his grandfather's journal. He began flipping through the pages. Ivo remembered his grandfather referring to a link when in reference to the Gizoid. What's this? According to my research, this Gizoid will make a bond with someone. I've dubbed it a link. When the Gizoid sees something of great power, it will latch onto it emotionally and follow its every order. I think I know how to get that Gizoid back on my side. Elsewhere, at an ancient Echidna tomb known as the Holy Summit, the heroes met up with Knuckles the Echidna. Explain to me again why you wanted me to bring the Master Emerald, especially if she's here. The Echidna Guardian was of course referring to Rouge the Bat. Nice to see you too, Nucky. Don't worry, I'm not after the Master Emerald. This time. Tails answered Knuckles' query. Well, you see, Knuckles, I wanted to run an experiment. Emerald here is powered by, Chaos Emeralds. And as you know, the Master Emerald is also exerting a lot of Chaos energy. So I was wondering if it would have any effect on him. Knuckles seemed very annoyed. You're telling me I dragged the Emerald down here for a damn science experiment? The Master Emerald isn't to be messed with, Tails. You know how powerful it is and the effects it can have on the Chaos Emeralds. We don't want some out-of-control hyperbot. I can respect that, but I still think we should. Before Tails could finish, a clanking could be heard from the other side of the sanctuary. A lone egg pawn approached with a communicator, showing live footage of Dr. Eggman. Hello, my dear half-wit heroes. That's Sonic Heroes. Oh, please, as if that's going to catch on. Now, I would like to inform you that in a few short hours, I will be king of the Earth. And what makes you think that, Robotnik? Because in just a few short hours, my final egg blaster will be prepared. A ray gun powerful enough to destroy the entire planet in a single shot. Sound familiar, Shadow? Shadow glared at Robotnik. Now, in case any of you want to foolishly try and stop me, it will be attached to my death egg. See you then, fools. As the transmission ended, the machine was immediately destroyed by Omega. That felt good. Mighty looked serious. We have to get up there and stop him, now. But Mighty, the death egg's all the way up in space. How are we supposed to get up there in time? Tails stood up. I think I might have something to help with that. He unveiled his latest creation, a long-range teleporter, powered by chaos energy. I was just out getting the final parts when you guys came along, and I just finished it up. However, it needs a lot of time to recharge, and it can only send one person at a time. Shadow stepped up. I'll go. As the world's ultimate life form, it's my duty to protect the planet. Mighty objected. Shadow, this is clearly a trap, and you'll be walking right into it. Better me than someone else. Without the Chaos Emeralds, only one of us will make it. Ray suddenly perked up. That's it! What's it? Well, we have all the Chaos Emeralds. They're just inside Emerald. And, well, he's able to copy a lot of what we do. So, what if he's able to copy that chaos control thing you do? Is that even possible? Well, it's not out of the question. I have seen a machine use chaos control once before. Emerald then stepped forward. I'll give it a good shot. We must save the world. Mighty grinned. Okay, Emerald, I'll back you up. You and me will head up to the Death Egg. And if things go south, we can use chaos control to call in for reinforcements. With that, the heroes took their positions. Mighty got onto the teleporter, while Emerald began channeling his chaos energy. As the power of the miracle gems flowed through his circuits, Emerald proudly proclaimed the words, Chaos Control! In a flash of light, Emerald appeared on the Death Egg, with Mighty appearing a mere moment afterwards. The pair of heroes looked across the room to see the bald genius maniacally grinning at the pair. Well, you actually showed. And here I was thinking this would be difficult. It's over, Eggman. Stand down. This doesn't have to be a fight. Eggman's grin widened. Oh, don't worry, boys. You won't be fighting me. In a swift motion, Eggman pressed a button on his control module. Firing final egg blaster. Eggman's ultimate weapon was already prepared. Eggman could have fired at any moment, but he hadn't yet. He waited for the heroes to arrive. Before they could question this, the cannon fired off into the distance, destroying a cluster of stars. Mighty tried his best to shield his eyes from the unrelenting light, but Emerald had a very different reaction. The Gizoid froze up for a moment, still as a statue, before violently shaking and spouting out an inconsequential amount of ones and zeros. His third eye flipped open as his entire body went into shock. Emerald, what's going on? Eggman laughed at the armadillo's question. First thing you learn when you try getting a teaching degree, it always pays to do your research. I looked into what makes your little Gizoid tick from my grandfather's notes, and I discovered something. When the Gizoid comes in contact with a powerful object or energy source, he creates a link. He created one with you after you stalemated my Eggmobile. That's why he followed you, learned from you, obeyed you. and now he'll follow my every command. Now, Emerald, was it? Form a link with me and destroy Mighty. Emerald, listen to me. You don't have to fight. But the Gizoid couldn't hear his friend. Coldly, Emerald stated his new objective. I am Gizoid. Link formed. I must destroy. I must destroy the Earth. Wait, hold on. That's not what I ordered you to do. Destroy Mighty. If you destroy the world, what do I have left to conquer? Eggman tried again and again to get control of the Gizoid, but nothing was working. The machine simply threw aside the fat fool and took control of the Death Egg itself. You see, the simultaneous explosions had been more than Emerald was ever designed to absorb. The link was too powerful, driving the Gizoid insane, resorting him back to his most basic function: destruction and conquest. Repositioning Final Egg Blaster. Charge up time estimated 1 minute after rotation. The entire space station turned on its axis, looking down at the planet, preparing to fire. Mighty tried to call out to his friend one last time, but when Emerald didn't respond, Mighty knew what had to be done. I'm sorry about this, Emerald. The armadillo clenched his fist and punched at the Gizoid, hoping not to damage him too much. But the punch did absolutely nothing. Emerald simply looked at his opponent. Analyzing threat level. Barely consequential. Eliminate and return to my objective. To Mighty's shock, Emerald's left arm transformed into a minigun, just like Omega's. Thinking quickly, Mighty rolled into a spin dash, dodging most of the bullets, and the remaining ones simply bouncing off of his shell. Oh, seems you mimicked more than just our actions. All Nocturnus Gizoids are programmed to adapt and copy skills of their enemies. This unit possesses far more power than you could ever. That might be true, but I know you can be more than this, Emerald. You are more than this. Empty words from an inferior warrior. Mighty's expression turned grimmer. He knew what he had to do, even if he didn't want to. But he knew he couldn't do it alone. He pressed an SOS on his communicator, hoping to survive long enough for reinforcements. Back on Earth, Ray was trying to keep everyone's spirits up. He asked his new friends all about their lifestyles and adventure, even if most of the heroes there weren't really in the chatting mood. So Knuckles, you're telling me you had to watch this rock for your entire life? Yes, to keep the emerald from falling into the wrong hands, and to make up for the mistakes of my ancestors. I guard the Master Emerald with my life. Have you ever tried sleeping on it? What? Have you ever tried sleeping on it? Just to see what it's like. To do such would be an incredible dishonor to the Master Emerald. It possesses the power to eclipse even that of the 7 Chaos Emeralds. But I thought about doing it. See? Before the pair could continue their conversation, Tails came running up the shrine, finding the two near the Master Emerald. Guys, I just got an emergency alert from Mighty. Something's gone wrong on the Death Egg. What? We gotta get up there. Well, that's the issue, Ray. The teleporter hasn't recharged yet. If I send someone up there now, there'll be no way to get you both back. Well, we need to think of something quickly, Shadow chimed in. The longer we wait, the worse things can get. And without the Chaos Emeralds, we can't just warp back and forth. The passing mention of the Chaos Emeralds gave Ray an idea. Well, what if we use the Master Emerald? It's like what you said, Knuckles. The Emerald has the ability to surpass that of the Chaos Emeralds, so I'm sure it can give us the same superpower. Ray, as the guardian of the Master Emerald, I can say with the utmost confidence that it cannot be used to induce a super force. In a flash of golden and green light, The power of the Master Emerald induced a super form in Ray the Flying Squirrel. "Aw yeah, now we're talking. Don't worry, Mighty, I'm on my way." And with that, Ray flew off into the stratosphere to go help his friend. What the fuck? Aboard the Death Egg, Mighty was getting his tail handed to him by Emerald. "I have the strength and speed of the ultimate life form, augmented further by that of your friends. Why do you still resist?" "Because you're my friend, Emerald. I know you're not in the right state of mind, and I know if the roles were reversed, you'd do the same for me. You wouldn't stop until I was back to my senses." "Your sentiment is touching, but means little. The only thing that matters is conquest. The only thing that matters is destruct." Emerald was cut off mid-sentence as a golden blur smashed through the window and assaulted him at light speed. Unexpected interference. No matter. The final egg blaster will still fire. My programming will be complete. With Emerald's guard down, Mighty punched the Gizoid at full force, denting his metallic skull and cracking his left eye. Super Ray flew over to Mighty. Why did you just attack Emerald?" "No time to explain. Get to the final egg blaster and destroy it." Understood." Super Ray dashed over to the final egg blaster, ripping it off of the steel-plated ground and throwing it into the cold vacuumous space. The Death Egg was now disarmed. Mighty looked around the hangar, trying to find Dr. Eggman, but he had slipped away during his fight against Emerald. The armadillo was about to curse out the doctor's cowardness when he suddenly heard a voice from across the room. Mighty. It was Emerald. He was returning to his feet. Mighty took a defensive position, but the Gizoid wasn't getting up to fight. Through a glitched but audible voice, he asked a devastating question. Mighty, am I going to die?" Mighty was shocked, but tried to reassure the Gizoid. "No, Emerald. You'll be fine. We just need to get you back to Tails. Well, he'll fix you up. Then we can all go back home." Emerald saw right through this fib. He could already feel his system shutting down. "It's all right, Mighty. My programming already dictates I am too much of a threat to be allowed to persist. This is how it would always end." "It's like you said. Violence doesn't solve any." The Gizoid was defeated. Emerald was lost. The day was saved. The Earth was safe. The Chaos Emeralds had scattered upon Emerald's death, so Eggman couldn't even use them anymore. But tragedy still loomed over the events Mighty and Ray had just undergone. They were both quiet for 10 minutes, not sure what to say. Mighty finally broke the silence. "You know, Emerald, the real Emerald, never threw a single punch, even though he was designed for war. He really didn't want to hurt anyone." Ray smiled. You're right, Mighty. You know, if the world ever knows true peace, if this world no longer needs weapons or war, if we can make the world a truly peaceful place when we're older, where there's only laughter, do you think we'll be able to play with Emerald again? Mighty paused for a second. Yeah, definitely. Until then, I'll be here with you, little pal, to the end of the line. And with that, the two friends set off for their next adventure